Today's video is brought to you by Squarespace. Stay tuned until the end for a special offer. Hello dear friends! Today's oil painting time-lapse features my most recently completed piece titled Capture. I started my journey in the sketchbook with a quick thumbnail of the overall composition. Then I manually redrew the lines on an 8 by 10 inch wooden panel. Normally I would take a photo of a smaller drawing to transfer onto a larger panel, but since this panel was quite small already and I thought I could use the practice, I just decided to freehand the lines. Next, I took a photo of the line art and imported it into Procreate, where I first painted a black and white value study and then later added color into it. I really loved starting off my painting journey in the digital form first because I can have the freedom to experiment and tweak things with the power of Control-Z. Also, I find that I can develop a familiarity with the concept through the process of drawing, redrawing, and digitally painting the same thing over and over again. By the time I get to the oil painting stage, the concept no longer feels as daunting since I've warmed myself up during the preparation stage. By the way, if you'd like to see a more thorough 60-minute tutorial of this piece, where I go over how I prepared my reference photos, how I chose the color palette, and more instructional voiceover on the painting itself, feel free to check out my Patreon at patreon.com/happydartist. Okay, we're almost ready to start painting, but first I sprayed my panel with Winsor & Newton Artist Fixative so that my pencil lines won't smudge. And then I began my painting with a rough underpainting using a technique our teachers call ébauché. Ébauché is basically when you start off your piece by applying a diluted, faded version of all the colors you plan on using so that you can get an initial idea for the color-temperature relationships and color harmony. I thinned my paint using Gamsol so that it applies kind of semi-transparent, and that way I can still see the initial pencil lines. Now, normally the ébauché layer isn't supposed to be this ugly, but as usual, I was overly eager to get to the fun rendering stage of oil painting, so I kind of rushed through this initial pass. It was somewhat disheartening at first to realize I now had to slowly and carefully cover up all these rough, messy brushstrokes. And since I had learned my lesson of not rushing too much, I took my time when it came to applying the second layer of oils. So I had to look at patches of the ugly underpainting poking through for several weeks. And though it bothered me at first to be constantly reminded of my messy, careless brushstrokes, I soon found it to be quite satisfying. Each day as I sat at my easel, I got to cover up more and more of the rough ugliness with smoother, more softly blended paint. And it became kind of fun to watch the pretty layer take over the ugly layer. But I gotta admit, the final stage was the most satisfying because I think this is the first time I actually learned how to glaze properly, thanks to my teacher who is demoing it for me right now. By mixing some more medium with my paint, I was able to layer semi-transparent colors on top of each other, which introduces more luminosity and depth to the piece. Glazing with a soft, frayed brush also helped me add a blurry, glowing effect that made the painting feel super dreamy. Overall, this piece was a challenging but extremely gratifying experience because the concept isn't something I usually tackle in my personal work. Instead of a portrait, I chose to portray hands as the main protagonist, which actually helped me finally get over my disdain for painting hands. I learned how to embrace and overcome the initial ugly stage, and I also picked up some new glazing techniques along the way. This painting taught me the importance of stepping out of your comfort zone. Instead of dreading and fearing the unfamiliar, we should instead appreciate the thrill of trying something new. And that about wraps up today's video. Thank you all so much for watching the long journey of this painting, and I hope it can inspire you with your own pieces as well. The original painting will be a part of the Wow X Wow Gallery group show Quest for Zenith, which runs from October 7th through 28th, and I'll link the details in the video description. But if you're interested in adopting a print of this piece, I have it listed in my shop at happyd-artist.com. And of course, you guessed it, my eternal never-ending sale is still going on in my shop, so if you'd like 20% off your order of prints and originals, just enter the code HOLIDAY at happyd-artist.com. And if you're interested in learning more about how to paint and draw, I have lots of art educational content on my Patreon page, including exclusive video tutorials, step-by-step photo tutorials, live streams, podcasts, and even surprise art gift boxes. All available at patreon.com/happydartist. I'd love to have you join my Patreon family. I wanted to quickly thank Squarespace for sponsoring this video and for supporting my channel and the art community. I've actually enjoyed using Squarespace for 4 years now to build and host my online shop and website. So whether you need a domain, website, or online store, make your next move with Squarespace. Start your free trial today at squarespace.com and visit squarespace.com/happydartist for 10% off your first purchase. Also, if you want to check out more artworks, works in progress, and just random daily artist adventures, feel free to check out my Instagram, and you can follow me at the handle @happydartist.